Thank you, Mr. Chair, and my neighbor to the south. This is a day none of us will forget. I was in the gallery. I had my phone with me, so I could see some of the information of what was going on outside, but we didn't know it was going to come to the chamber. At some point, I saw kind of disorder on the floor, and the sergeant at arms coming down, and some of the member on the dais who was presiding coming down, and I knew something was happening. And I looked down and I yelled, "Call Trump and tell him to call his Revolutionary Guard off." Of course, they didn't do that, but it was the Revolutionary Guard, and they still are there. And I don't know if they're with ICE or if they're standing for another time, stand back but stand by. They're around, and Trump hadn't changed. I got up and an officer came who was helping protect him, make sure the doors were locked, and I heard the pounding on the doors and all, and he helped me put my mask on. And I was walking out. David Trone preceded me to go out in the gallery, and there's rails in the gallery, and we were going out towards the Republican side, and Trone just put his leg over it and kind of went on. Well, I got a real bad leg from having polio, and I knew if I put my leg over there, I might get stuck on that pole, and that'd be real embarrassing. It may be painful, too. So I limboed, a kind of a reverse limbo, and got under the pole, the rail, and got out. We got in an elevator, and we came down, and a couple of guys said, "Where do we go now?" I said, "Just follow me and come on." And we went as fast as we could towards Rayburn while we saw policemen come in the opposite direction with their guns out. It was a scary time. I got to my office in Rayburn, I locked the doors to the outside, and I locked myself in my office. And while I was there, I probably got at least 500 texts and phone calls from everybody I'd ever met in my life, I think. Well, my hero as a child was a ball player named Minnie Minoso. We maintained a friendship through his life and up until the fact we, in essence, got him in the Hall of Fame, helped with that, and we were friends and we'll be friends forever. So I'm sitting there with got a Minnie Minoso bat in my hand, sitting in my office, waiting for him to come in. And one of my text messages is from Charlie Minoso, Charlie Rice Minoso, who's Minnie's son. And he said, "I hope you're okay, and I hope everybody in the office is okay. I'm concerned about you. I want you to know, my dad will be thinking about you." I said, "I got your dad's bat in my hand." And he said, "If he was there, he'd be swinging it." I said, "You're damn right he would." Well, we stayed there, and I watched the tube, and then we got up and went and voted. And that was a great day that we voted. Speaker Pelosi was heroic in getting us called back, and Mike Pence was heroic in not succumbing to President Trump's dictations that he changed the law and the rules and count the votes differently. All of the public officers were great. Capitol Police, the Metropolitan Police here, National Guardsmen and others, great heroes. And I value all of them, and they protect us every day, and they don't get the respect that they should and the regard. But I think the greatest hero of all is Jack Smith. Jack Smith is like Mr. Stewart Goes to Washington. Yes. He is a lawyer who is a lawyer's lawyer. And he found in his work that there was an indictable offense, and he indicted the president for what he did. That needed to happen. He was only stopped because of the Justice Department's rule that you can't prosecute a sitting president. It was not dropped. It was because Trump won the election. But Jack Smith pursued it all the way through. And he is, in my opinion, he testified before a Republican committee that was set up to try to get him in a trap so they could prosecute him for something they could create. Their vindictive tour needs to stop, but it's still going on, a vendetta. Jack Smith stood firm. He spoke truth, even though he knew that if he said anything at all that they could possibly conjure up in another manner, he would be indicted, and they'd probably take his bar license away and try to put him in jail. He said he followed the facts and then applied it to the law. In his recent deposition, he told the Judiciary Committee, "The decision to bring charges against President Trump was mine, but the basis for those charges rests entirely with President Trump and his actions, as alleged in the indictments returned by the grand jury in 2 different districts. Our investigation developed and proved beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 election and to prevent the lawful transfer of power." That was heroic actions by him. President Trump is a treasonous individual, and it's awful that he's still in the White House and destroyed the East Wing, and as Mr. Raskin quite said, had graffiti put up over John Kennedy's name at the Kennedy Center. One date, somebody mentioned, dates we'll always remember it, and a September date, January date, and Pearl Harbor. We'll never forget November 22, 1963, those of us who are alive. I remember it all the time. Whenever I think about it, I start to tear up. I'm about to tear up now. And the idea that he put his name over John Kennedy's should never be forgotten, and he should be wiped out. I yield back the balance of my time.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from